Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to focus on Chapter 4 of Bud Not Buddy and the vocabulary words 1 through 4. For this lesson, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper or journal page. And on that page, you're going to divide the paper into 3 equal parts or thirds. 1, 2, 3, 3 columns. And then you can draw 2 lines like this to divide it up. Then you're going to write numbers 1 through 4. And on each number, you're going to write the targeted vocabulary word. In the second column, you can write a synonym or a short definition of the word. And I will provide either a synonym or a short definition. And what is a synonym? A synonym is a word that means the same or is similar. For example, combine is a synonym for mix. So combine and mix basically mean the same thing. If you can't think of a synonym or don't catch the short definition, you can just write the word a second time as an alternative activity. And then in the third column, you can draw a quick picture or sketch to help you remember the word. So if you need to, push pause, get your paper and your pencil, and then push play when you're ready to join us. At any time, if I'm going too fast, push pause, get caught up, and then push play again. Listen to this slide. You don't need to write anything. Bud uses a lot of figurative language when he talks. What does that mean, figurative language? Well, figurative language versus literal language. So look down at the bottom, there's a person running. Figurative language, you could say, he ran like the wind. That's figurative language, comparing one thing with another. He ran like the wind. Literal language would be he ran fast. So which sounds better? He ran like the wind or he ran fast? Well, I think figurative language gives you a better picture in your mind. He ran like the wind. So one type of figurative language is called personification. There's the word person in there, so something that's not a person acts like a person. Personification. For example, the sun was peeking through the clouds. Personification is giving human qualities to a thing or an idea. Obviously, the sun cannot peek through the clouds, but we're making the sun act like a person, giving human qualities to the sun. And it gives a great visual. The sun was peeking through the clouds. Again, for this slide, you don't need to write anything, just listen. Here's your example of personification. My heart started jumping around in my stomach as soon as I reached out for the shotgun. Bud. So Bud said, my heart, so his heart in his chest, started jumping around in my stomach as soon as I reach out for the shotgun. So he is saying that his heart is jumping. Can a heart jump like a person? No, but that's his figurative language. It gives a great picture of how his heart is acting. Another type of figurative language is simile. His face lit up like a light bulb when he figured out the math problem. His face lit up like a light bulb when he figured out the math problem. So what is a simile? A simile is a comparison of two things using the words like or as. So instead of he was excited when he figured out the math problem, his face lit up like a light bulb. So here's a simile in chapter 4 of Bud Not Buddy. The window slid open with just a couple of squeaks, and then I was inside the Amos house, crouched down like a cat burglar. So he was crouched down like a cat burglar. So Bud said he is like a cat burglar. Was he literally a cat burglar? No, he was like. It's figurative language. Again, listen to this slide. He was deep asleep and his hands were crossed on his chest, like he was ready for the graveyard. So Bud is talking about Todd. He was deep asleep and his hands were crossed on his chest, like he was ready for the graveyard. And there's that word like, so it's a simile. So here's Todd sleeping, and Bud compared him to a person who has their arms crossed like this mummy, like he was ready for the graveyard. Listen again. Todd's bed stayed as dry as the desert. Todd's bed stayed as dry as the desert. So in this figurative language, a simile, he's comparing the bed is as dry as what? The desert. Is the bed a literal desert? No. That's why this is figurative language. Idiom. Idiom. What's an idiom? Here's an example. It's raining cats and dogs, so take your umbrella. Is it literally raining cats and dogs? No. An idiom is a saying that has a completely different meaning than the actual words themselves. Idiom. And here's an example of an idiom. And you're going to write this idiom. So get your pencil. And for number 1, you're going to write on the lamb. On the lamb. So this is our first vocabulary word or idiom. On the lamb. On the lamb. Here's the literal meaning. A burglar or a bad guy is literally on a lamb, but here's the figurative meaning. On the lamb is an informal phrase and used mainly in US. If someone is on the lam, they are attempted to avoid being captured by the police or an enemy or law enforcement. For example, the escaped convicts have been on the lam for a week with no leads as to their whereabouts. On the lam. So write it. The meaning for on the lam is hiding from police. So you can write that as a short definition. Hiding from police, on the lam. Number 2, write this person down. J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover. The director of the FBI from 1924 to 1972 died of anthrax poisoning. J. Edgar Hoover. He was the director of the FBI during the Great Depression. Director of FBI. FBI stands for Federal Bureau of Investigation. Here's your example on chapter 4, page 35. I was on the lam. I was just like public enemy number 1. If J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI saw me now, I'd be in some real serious hot water. So Bud says, I was on the lam. I was just like public enemy number 1. Ooh, like. There's a simile. If J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI saw me, I'd be in some serious hot water. So write J. Edgar Hoover, director of the FBI, for number 2. Number 3 is going to be in hot water. Right, in hot water. Here's a picture of a business person in and boiling hot water. That's the literal definition. But when you say you're in hot water, it means you're in trouble. So number 2 is J. Edgar Hoover, director of the FBI. Number 3, in hot water. And in hot water means you are in trouble. So if I'm going too fast, push pause. At the end of this lesson, I will show all 4 words, so don't worry, I'll give you time to get caught up as well. So On the lam, we've already discussed that. Here's another example. On the lam or on the run often refers to fugitives running away from capture. So here's an old 1930s example of some bad guys, and they are on the run and they don't want to get captured and go to jail. So number 4, we already wrote on the lam. You're going to write public enemy number 1. That's 4 words, but just write public enemy number 1. Public enemy is an ancient Roman term which was first widely used in the US in the 1930s to describe individuals whose activities were seen as criminal and dangerous to society. So here's some wanted posters. It says, wanted dead or alive, $4,000 for the capture of pretty boy Charles Floyd, or wanted in 5 states, public John Dillinger, public enemy number 1, $20,000 reward. So public enemy number 1 means dangerous criminal. So that could be a shorter definition. Dangerous criminal. Number 4, public enemy number 1, dangerous criminal. Remember, Bud called himself, he felt like he was public enemy number 1, running away from J. Edgar Hoover. So let's check your work. Chapter 4, words 1 to 4. And for this page, if you need to, push pause when I'm done showing you all the pictures, and you can make sure you have all the words and all the synonyms or short definitions, and you can draw a quick sketch. Number 1 was on the lam. What does on the lam mean? Hiding from the police. Number 2, J. Edgar Hoover. He was an FBI director during the Depression. J. Edgar Hoover. 3 is in hot water, and that's an idiom for in trouble. 4 is public enemy number 1. And public enemy number 1 means dangerous criminal. Oops, I'm gonna go back. If you need to, push pause and finish writing all your words and pictures, and you'll be finished with this lesson. Thank you for reviewing the words with me. Have a great day.